Today we're going to read Kingdom Keepers, Book 3, Disney in Shadows. Chapter 1. Finn Whitman ran hard, then all the harder still, Johnny Mayback by his side and keeping up. By day, Tom Sawyer Island in the Magic Kingdom was an intriguing triangle of trees and bushes interrupted by meandering pathways. By night, it was something altogether different. Especially when 4 insanely angry sword-carrying pirates bearing down on you, following closely by an alien with a genetic malfunction that posed like Elvis Presley and looked slightly like a cross between a koala bear and a cuddly dog. The guys in the torn t-shirts and calf-length pants had leaped from the shadows surrounding Pirates of the Caribbean. The park, having been closed for nearly 3 hours, had appeared out of nowhere. Finn made a mistake of glancing back at them. "Don't look back!" Mayback called out sharply. Your skin is like a flashlight. You'll give us away, believe me, Whitman. This is when it pays to be yours truly. Mayback thought of himself as God's answer to everything. I wasn't afraid to share the opinion. If give half a chance, he would make the point that his great-grandparents had been slaves, and this grandparent sharecroppers of Florida sugarcane plantations. He was fiercely proud of his African heritage, and of the fact that his family were some of the original Floridians, instead of being descendants of snowbird retirees like Finn and so many of his friends and their fellow DHIs. DHI stood for Disney Host Interactive or Daylight Holographic Image, depending on who you ask. There are 5 DHIs, including Finn and Mayback, holograms of teenage hosts that by day acted as guides to guests at the Magic Kingdom. The other 3, Philby, Willa, and Charlene, were by now supposed to be waiting the 2 boys in the Indian village across the water from Tom Sawyer Island. There was a glitch in the software that projected the holograms in the park. When any of the 5 teens who originally modeled for the DHIs went to sleep at night, they would wake up not as themselves, but as their holograms inside Magic Kingdom. As it turns out, this was no glitch. An old guy, a Disney Imagineer named Wayne, had intentionally made the crossover possible by rewriting the projection computer code. He's done this because he needed help of the DHIs to solve a riddle left behind by Walt Disney years before. But tonight was different. The kids had gone to sleep. Their crossed over, becoming their DHIs inside of Magic Kingdom at night. Something they were used to by now. They had left a special fob with a button, like a garage door opener, inside a teepee to ensure that they could all similarly cross back over, retreating into their sleeping bodies in their homes. That was all pretty much the same as usual. What made it different was why they were here in the first place. Wayne was missing. He'd been missing for nearly 3 weeks, ever since one very long day inside the Disney Animal Kingdom, where the teens had battled the wicked Fairly Maleficent and the gargoyle beast Chernabog. It was unacceptable to leave Wayne missing. He was the last Imagineer alive who known Walt Disney personally, who known Walt's plans and intentions for the park and characters. Wayne had created their ability to cross over. He was their mentor and their leader in trying to fight Maleficent and the ambitious plans. Wayne had explained it all to Finn what seemed like a long time ago. You know the movie Toy Story? Wayne had asked. Of course. Annie's toys come to life when he leaves the room. I know, Finn said. Well, that wasn't exactly a new idea. Walt designed it so that when the last of the humans, the guests, the cast members, the cleaners, maintenance, personnel, even the security guys, leave the Magic Kingdom, the characters get to have it all to themselves. Yeah, right. I'm serious, Wayne said. We began to suspect this as odd thing starting happening, like finding equipment moved or an audio animatronic in a different position than it had been left the night before. Strange, unexplainable events, but Walt had wanted it this way, and we left it alone. That is, until the trouble began. Even now, security rarely patrols the parks at night, and when they do, the good characters are left alone to enjoy the freedom as Walt wanted. The good characters, Finn thought. He would later discover that Wayne was telling the truth, but when he first heard of the story, he thought the guy was nuts. He hadn't believed a word. Having been raised to a polite, he kept quiet and didn't challenge the old man. I had a pet monkey when I was a child, Wayne said. My mother gave it to me for my 13th birthday. Fascinating. A terrific pet. A monkey, a real friend. Except, the more freedom I gave him, the more freedom he wanted. The more freedom he took, and eventually I had to give him back to the store that had sold him to me, because he would no longer get back to his cage at night. He wouldn't give up his newly found freedom. Well, the same thing had happened to the characters, he continued. Turns out some of them like having the park all to themselves, mostly the villains, as it so happens. They enjoy bossing around likable characters, sabotaging the more popular rides, and generally making trouble. You think a group of them, we're not exactly sure who all of them are, have decided to drive the good characters out, to take over the park and make it a dark, evil place. The plan seems to be a simple one. If they could scare the good guys, only the villains will be left. Eventually, only people attracted by evil will come. That's why we call them the Overtakers. Their mission is to change the park forever. Wayne had studied Finn's face to see how much, if any of this, Finn believed. He couldn't read him. He had it wrong for the longest time. We thought it was about them turning into a dark park. A place where instead of being magical and happy, it would be villainous and dark. We no longer certain that's the case. We now think instead they want the park, maybe all the Disney properties for themselves. The more playground, the better. Finn remembered the day clearly, remembered how he felt about the idea of losing Disney World, Animal Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios. As DHIs, non-human holograms, he and the 4 others could infiltrate the park at night, making efforts to spy on, bring down the Overtakers. This had been Wayne's grand scheme, his big plan in making the kids DHIs in the first place. Their most recent effort had been in Animal Kingdom. They managed to save a friend from the Overtakers. But only Wayne saw the bigger picture. Only Wayne fully understood any of it. They had to find him. This was the 5th night searching the Magic Kingdom. Their last now that they'd been spotted by the pirates and Stitch, now that all the Overtakers under Maleficent would be looking to eliminate them, or at least to trap their DHIs, a situation that left their sleeping bodies back in their parents' homes, unable to wake up. They called the condition the syndrome, short for Sleeping Beauty Syndrome. Maybach had experienced it once. He had Willa and Philby briefly in the Animal Kingdom. The syndrome was nothing to mess with. Note to self, Finn said, intending it for Maybach. We are glowing bodies of light running through the dark jungle. You really think my face is going to give us away? Of the 5 DHIs, Finn had the most control over his crossover state as a hologram. The 4 others existed in a kind of suspended state when crossed over. Half DHI, half human kid, susceptible to getting hurt by accident or at the hands of others. Finn had learned with Wayne's guidance to separate himself from fear, from all sensation, touch, sound, state, smell, sight, and in doing so to make himself pure light and stream an energy of hologram just like his DHI that Disney used as the park guide. He couldn't maintain this pure state for long, a minute or 2 at most, but he liked to rub his skills in Maybach's face. Finn ran right through 3 palm trees, not bothering to get out of the way. Maybach waved and bobbed, avoiding collision. Show off, Maybach said. elitist Finn fired back. His body passed transparently through a huge rock that Mayback had scrambled over. Know-it-all. Hi, Candy. Mayback was popular with the girls at school. They both heard the football at once. The pirates had closed the distance and were only a matter of yards behind them now. We should continue this later, Mayback said. Agreed. Right now we need something resembling a plan. I have one, Finn said. Do you? They continued running, Finn out of breath. Mayback, not wanted at all. That would be a no, Mayback. All right then what? We'll go for my plan. Only if you have a plan in the next 5 seconds. At the instant, Finn felt a burning sensation on his arm. He didn't really have much of a plan, and Mayback's reliance on him had taken him out of his pure holographic state. He wasn't glowing as brightly. He was part human again. He kept running. Dude, Mayback said, your arm is like gushing blood. Finn looked down. He'd been caught by the tip of Pirate's sword. It was a nasty cut, but he wouldn't have called it gushing. Whoosh, whoosh. Finn heard the sword slicing the air just behind him. Slowpoke, Mayback chided. Mayback ducked to his right and went down onto his hands and knees, tumbling over. He tripped over 3 of the pirates, sending them flying. He jumped to his feet and caught back up to Finn. You do make yourself handy, Finn said. What are friends for? Mayback asked. Here's the plan, Finn said at last. How are you at swimming underwater? And then we are on chapter 2.